We like to think of our lives as a straight line, just one thing after another. But some places, and some choices, they have a totally different kind of weight, don't they? They're intersections where the normal rules just seem to bend, and the consequences of one little step can ripple out forever. Today, we're diving into the geometry of those exact moments.
Seriously, think about it for a second. Maybe it was a literal dusty road splitting in two, or a huge life decision that presented you with two completely different futures. It's a feeling we all know, right? That moment of intense choice where you can almost feel the invisible scales of fate just tipping. Those are the moments we're digging into.
And these places, they actually have a name: liminal spaces. It comes from the Latin word for threshold. These are zones where the veil between our world and, well, other worlds gets paper thin. And they're not just physical spots on a map. They're the stage where our human wants and desires come face to face with divine, or maybe even demonic, forces. This is where our dark folktale really gets started.
And this leads us to this really fascinating idea, the geometry of fate. The concept is actually pretty simple, but it is so powerful. The idea is that every physical crossroads you see, a fork in the road, where two rivers meet, is a potential mirror for a moral crossroads happening inside of you. It's like the very layout of the world reflects the choices rattling around in our souls.
But here's the thing. We are not alone at these thresholds. No way. These liminal spaces are watched over by ancient, powerful beings. They walk among us, usually in disguise, just waiting for us to show up at our moment of choice. So, let's meet the players.
First up, we have Mephistopheles. And his formal title says it all. He is the king of the crossroads. That tells you exactly what his domain is. He is the absolute master of the intersection, the authority on those critical points where one path suddenly splits into many.
And check out how he operates. It's so methodical. He doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. No, he's summoned there, at that intersection, by sheer desperation, by people who want to cheat their fate. And he offers them a deal, the ultimate transaction, your soul for whatever your heart desires. And to make this insane pact seem reasonable, even sophisticated, he puts on a mask. He becomes a cunning nobleman or a wise scholar, acting as your trusted traveling buddy, right up until the moment that contract is signed in blood.
Okay, now on the complete other end of the spectrum from the civilized, man-made crossroads of Mephistopheles, we find our second figure, Wotan. He isn't waiting at a fork in the road. He's found at the wilder edges of the world, the deep forest, right where civilization crumbles and the great unknown begins.
Wotan is he's a much harsher figure. They call him the gallows god, so he's associated with sacrifice and hard truths. He roams the world as the Wanderer, always hidden under a heavy cloak and a wide-brimmed hat. And this isn't just for show. That disguise is a necessity. It's meant to shield our mortal eyes from a form so divine it would literally burn us to look at. And see, he isn't there to make a deal. He's there to watch, to test, and to weigh the true character of anyone who crosses his path.
So when you put them side by side, you can really see how they're like two sides of the same ancient coin. They're both these figures of fate, and they both operate in disguise. But where Mephistopheles is all about the transaction, a cunning dealer in human souls, Wotan is an observer of character, a figure of ancient wisdom and brutal reality. One offers you what you want, the other forces you to see who you really are.
And that's the whole point, right? The mask. The Wanderer's mask is the tool they share. It's what allows these immense cosmic forces to just walk the earth, to stand right next to us in our most critical moments, and to nudge our decisions without ever revealing the true, terrifying scale of the game we're actually playing.
But here's where it gets really dark. These figures, they're not just characters in old campfire stories. They are archetypes, these powerful, primal patterns that exist deep down inside all of us. And they don't just test individuals. Sometimes, on a scale that's hard to even comprehend, they can possess an entire nation. The psychologist Carl Jung saw it happen, and his analysis is, well, it's absolutely chilling.
Jung used those exact words, a Faustian pact with the devil, to describe what he witnessed in Germany during the rise of National Socialism. He was convinced that the nation wasn't just going through some political change. He believed it was a deep, dangerous psychological possession.
Jung argued that the Wotan archetype, this ancient god of storm and pure frenzy, wasn't just a myth.
He saw it as a real, latent force sleeping in what he called the collective unconscious. Think of it like a shared, inherited memory bank for the entire human race. A deep, powerful, and totally irrational drive just buried in the soul of a people, waiting.
And according to Jung, all the pressures of the modern world, all the chaos and uncertainty, it had caused this ancient force to start to stir from its long sleep.
And it wasn't just stirring. It was reawakened with a terrifying power, erupting from the depths of the psyche after centuries of being dormant.
And once it was awake, it gripped an entire population. This wasn't politics anymore. Jung saw it as a mass possession. An ancient, storm-like frenzy started to dictate national policy, just completely overriding reason, compassion, everything. The Wanderer God had returned, not to test one person at a crossroads, but to sweep away an entire nation.
And that, right there, is the ultimate warning that's baked into these ancient stories. It's the reason they survive. They're not just tales of gods and demons, they are literal maps of the human soul.
You see, folklore holds onto symbols like Mephistopheles and Wotan for a reason. They're here to remind us that our own individual will, and our will as a society, is always constantly under pressure from these bigger archetypal forces. They represent that constant cosmic tug-of-war between our choices and our destiny.
So the question these stories leave us with is this. A crossroads is going to come for you, it comes for all of us. And when that wandering figure steps out of the shadows to meet you there, what face will it be wearing? Will it be the charming smile of a deal-maker offering you the world on a silver platter? Or will it be the stern gaze of an observer, asking you to prove what you're really made of? When destiny comes for you, what face will it wear?